The looming threat. The night sky above Nevada shimmered with stars, a serene tableau soon to be shattered. Deep beneath the desert floor, in a chamber unknown to all but a select few, alarms blared to life. Colonel Jack Harper jolted awake, his weathered face illuminated by pulsing red lights. He'd spent 2 decades waiting for this moment, praying it would never come. With practiced efficiency, he keyed in his authorization code and opened a secure channel to Washington. "Madam President," he said, his voice grave, "Project Sentinel has detected multiple objects on an intercept course with Earth, size and speed consistent with our worst-case scenarios. ETA, 72 hours. Silence hung heavy on the line before President Elena Rodriguez responded, her voice tight with controlled fear. "Understood, Colonel. Initiate Protocol Omega. I'm calling an emergency session of the Security Council." Within the hour, world leaders gathered virtually, their faces grim as they absorbed the reality of humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, one seemingly bent on conquest. "Ladies and gentlemen," President Rodriguez began, "we've prepared for this day in secret for over 50 years. It's time to unveil our last line of defense." Gasps and murmurs filled the secure channel as classified files were shared. Images of sleek spacecraft, unlike anything publicly known, filled screens worldwide. Admiral Sarah Chen, commander of Earth's clandestine space fleet, stepped forward. Her crisp uniform bore insignia unknown to the public, marking her as part of a shadow force created to defend humanity from threats beyond the stars. "Operation Phantom Shield is go," she announced. "Our ships are prepped and crews are ready. We've been training for this our entire careers." Questions erupted from the assembled leaders. How had such a massive undertaking remained hidden? Where were these ships based? What were their capabilities? Dr. Raj Patel, chief engineer of the Phantom Fleet, cleared his throat. "The answers to most of your questions would take weeks to fully explain. In short, quantum stealth technology, gravity manipulation, and weapons beyond anything in our public arsenal. We've reverse-engineered technology from crashed alien craft and combined it with human ingenuity." President Rodriguez held up a hand, silencing the clamor. "I know you all have concerns about the secrecy, the expense, the ethical implications. But right now, we need to focus on the threat at hand. Admiral Chen, you have full authority to deploy the Phantom Fleet. Godspeed." As the meeting adjourned, Sarah and Raj shared a meaningful look. They dedicated their lives to this moment, sacrificing personal relationships and normal lives for a duty they could never explain, until now. "We should head to Olympus Base," Sarah said quietly. "The crews will need us there for final preparations." Raj nodded, his brilliant mind already racing through last-minute optimizations and battle strategies. "I'll need to run final checks on the Nova Cannon. If it works as designed, it could be the edge we need." As they made their way to a hidden hangar, the weight of humanity's fate pressed down upon them. Billions of lives, the entire future of human civilization, rested on the shoulders of a secret few. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of activity. Around the world, governments struggled to decide whether to inform their populations of the impending threat. Panic and disbelief warred in emergency sessions of Parliament and Congress. Meanwhile, deep within secret bases on Earth and concealed installations on the Moon and Mars, the Phantom Fleet prepared for battle. Crews ran endless drills, technicians made final adjustments to experimental systems, and commanders pored over every scrap of intelligence they could gather about the approaching alien armada. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the PSV Defiant, Earth's most advanced warship. Through the view screen, she watched as the rest of the fleet assembled in high orbit, their stealth systems keeping them invisible to conventional detection methods. "Status report," she barked, her calm exterior masking the turmoil within. "All ships reporting ready, Admiral," her XO responded. "Stealth systems nominal. Weapons hot. The Nova Cannon is charged and awaiting your command." Sarah nodded, allowing herself a small measure of pride. Humanity had accomplished the impossible, building a fleet in secret that could stand against the stars themselves. Now they would see if it was enough. Incoming transmission from Earth Command, the communications officer announced. President Rodriguez's face appeared on the main screen, her expression a mixture of fear and determination. Admiral Chen, our long-range sensors have picked up energy signatures consistent with weapons charging. The alien fleet will be in range within the hour. You are cleared to engage. Understood, Madam President. Sarah replied, her voice steady. We won't let Earth fall. Not today. Not ever. As the transmission ended, Sarah turned to her crew. Men and women from every nation on Earth, the best and brightest, chosen for a duty they never knew existed until they were called to serve. In their eyes, she saw the same mix of emotions she felt: fear, excitement, determination. This is the moment we've trained for, she said, her voice carrying throughout the ship and to the rest of the fleet. Humanity faces its greatest threat, and we are its shield. The aliens think they're facing a primitive species, ripe for conquest. Let's show them how wrong they are. A chorus of cheers erupted across the comms. Sarah allowed herself a small smile before turning her attention to the tactical display. The alien fleet was approaching rapidly, their formation suggesting confidence in their superior numbers and technology. Weapons officer, prepare to fire the Nova cannon on my mark, Sarah ordered. All ships maintain stealth and prepare for synchronized strike. We hit them hard, we hit them fast, and we show them that humanity will not go quietly into the night. As the alien fleet entered the solar system, unaware of the invisible Armada waiting in ambush, humanity held its collective breath. The future of Earth hung in the balance, with only a secret fleet and the indomitable human spirit standing between freedom and annihilation. The battle for Earth was about to begin. Project Phantom. The alien fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, a swarm of sleek, predatory vessels that glistened in the faint starlight. Their arrival was met with eerie silence. No radio chatter, no frantic defensive maneuvers from the seemingly primitive planet they had come to conquer. Aboard the Draxian flagship, Supreme Commander Zilith surveyed the holographic display of the target system with a mix of anticipation and disdain. Pitiful, he muttered, his scaled skin rippling with barely contained excitement. They don't even have a proper defense grid. This will be over quickly. If only he knew of the invisible net waiting to ensnare his fleet. Back on the PSV Defiant, Admiral Chen watched the alien Armada's approach with laser focus. Years of training and preparation had led to this moment. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the battle to come. All ships maintain stealth protocols, she ordered. Let them come to us. Dr. Raj Patel's voice crackled over the comm. Admiral, the Nova cannon is primed and ready. We'll only get one shot before it needs to recharge. Sarah nodded, though Raj couldn't see her. Understood. We'll make it count. As the alien fleet pushed deeper into the solar system, tension mounted among the crew of the Phantom fleet. Some fidgeted at their stations, others murmured quiet prayers. All eyes were fixed on the approaching enemy. They're passing Neptune, the sensor officer reported. No sign they've detected us. Sarah allowed herself a grim smile. The stealth technology developed by Raj and his team was working perfectly. Now came the true test. All ships prepare to decloak on my mark, she commanded. Weapons officers, target their lead vessels. We take out their command and control first. The minutes ticked by with agonizing slowness as the alien fleet drew ever closer to Earth. They passed Jupiter, then Mars, their formation tightening as they prepared for what they thought would be an easy conquest. Now, Sarah barked. In an instant, the void of space was filled with the imposing sight of Earth's secret defenders. The Phantom fleet shimmered into view, sleek and deadly, their weapons already tracking targets. On the Draxian flagship, alarms blared as sensors suddenly overloaded with data. Supreme Commander Zilith staggered back from the holodisplay, his mandibles clicking in shock. Impossible, he hissed. Where did they come from? Before he could issue orders, the space around his ship erupted in a dazzling display of destructive power. The Nova Cannon fired, a lance of pure energy that cut through the Draxian fleet like a hot knife through butter. Dozens of ships were vaporized in an instant, leaving a gaping hole in the alien formation. All ships, engage. Admiral Chen commanded, her voice ringing with authority. Show them what humanity is made of. The battle was joined in earnest, Earth's hidden champions clashing with the alien invaders in a spectacular firefight that lit up the solar system. The Phantom Fleet's advanced technology allowed them to hold their own against superior numbers, their tactics honed by years of preparation paying off. Aboard the Defiant, Sarah coordinated the assault with practiced precision. Squadron 3 flanked their destroyers. Cruiser Group Alpha pushed through that gap and hit their carriers. The bridge shook as enemy fire found its mark, but the advanced shielding held. Sarah gripped her command chair, watching as the holographic battle map updated in real time. They were inflicting heavy damage, but the aliens still outnumbered them. Admiral, Raj's voice cut through the chaos. I've analyzed their shield frequencies. If we modulate our weapons to this spectrum, we should be able to penetrate their defenses more easily. Do it, Sarah ordered. Transmit the data to all ships. As the new targeting data spread through the fleet, the tide of battle began to turn more decisively in Earth's favor. Alien ships that had previously shrugged off attacks now found themselves vulnerable, their hulls breached by precisely targeted fire. On the Draxian flagship, now trailing smoke and venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches, Supreme Commander Zillith raged at his subordinates. How is this possible? They're savages. They shouldn't have this level of technology. A junior officer, his carapace scorched from an exploding console, dared to speak up. Sir, we're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. They're weapons. They're beyond even our most advanced theoretical models. Zillith's eyes narrowed. This primitive species had somehow leapfrogged centuries of technological development. The implications were staggering and terrifying. Send word to the homeworld, he growled. We need reinforcements, and someone find out where they got this technology. Back on the Defiant, Sarah allowed herself a moment of cautious optimism. The alien fleet was in disarray, their formation broken, their technological advantage neutralized. But the battle was far from over. Status report, she called out. Her XO responded promptly. We've destroyed approximately 40% of their fleet. Admiral, our losses stand at 15%. The Nova Cannon is still recharging, ETA 20 minutes until it's operational again. Sarah nodded grimly. They were winning, but at a cost. Each ship lost represented years of secret development and a crew of irreplaceable heroes. Press the advantage, she ordered. Don't let them regroup. As the battle raged on, news of the conflict spread across Earth. Governments struggled to maintain order as panicked citizens realized the truth. Aliens were real, and they had come with conquest in mind. But alongside the fear, a swell of pride and determination rose. Humanity was fighting back, and against all odds, they were winning. In cities around the world, people gathered in squares and parks, their eyes turned to the sky. Some prayed, some cheered, but all were united in a way they had never been before. The petty divisions of nation and creed fell away in the face of a common threat and a common hope. President Rodriguez addressed the world, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. People of Earth, today we face the greatest challenge in our history, but we do not face it alone, nor unprepared. Even now, brave men and women are fighting for our future among the stars. They represent the best of us. Our ingenuity, our courage, our unyielding spirit. Today, we are not Americans or Russians, Chinese or Brazilian. We are Earth, united against those who would see us enslaved. And we will prevail. As her words echoed across the globe, the battle in space reached a fever pitch. The alien fleet, realizing the true extent of the threat they faced, began a fighting retreat. But Admiral Chen and the Phantom Fleet were not about to let them escape to threaten Earth another day. "All ships, form up on me," Sarah commanded. "We end this now." For Earth. The Defiant led the charge, its weapons blazing, as humanity's defenders bore down on the fleeing invaders. The next few hours would determine the fate of not just a planet, but a species, and Sarah Chen, along with every member of the Phantom Fleet, was determined to write a victorious new chapter in human history. First contact, first blood. The vacuum of space, once silent, now pulsed with the fury of battle. Beams of energy crisscrossed the void, punctuated by the silent explosions of dying ships. The Phantom Fleet pursued the retreating Draxian forces relentlessly, determined to press their advantage. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the helm of the Defiant, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Don't let them regroup," she ordered. "Squadron 2, cut off their escape route. Cruiser Group Beta, target their engines." As Earth's defenders closed in, the alien fleet's retreat became increasingly desperate. Ships collided in their haste to escape, while others turned to make suicidal last stands against their pursuers. On the battered Draxian flagship, Supreme Commander Zilith snarled in frustration. "How?" he demanded of no one in particular. "How did these primitives hide such power from us?" A trembling subordinate approached, mandibles clicking nervously. "Sir, we've intercepted some of their communications. They keep referring to something called Project Phantom. It seems they've been preparing for this encounter for decades." Zilith's eyes narrowed. "Decades? Impossible. Our long-range scans showed no sign of advanced technology." He paused, a chilling realization dawning. Unless they knew we were coming all along. Back on the Defiant, Dr. Raj Patel burst onto the bridge, his usually calm demeanor replaced by barely contained excitement. "Admiral, I've made a breakthrough in decrypting their communications." Sarah turned, hope flickering in her eyes. "What have you found?" Raj's fingers flew over a console, bringing up a series of complex equations. "Their language is based on mathematical principles. I've managed to create a rudimentary translation matrix. We can attempt communication." For a moment, Sarah hesitated. Their mission was to defend Earth, not to make friends. But the soldier in her knew that understanding your enemy was key to defeating them. "Do it," she nodded. "Let's see if we can end this without further bloodshed." As Raj worked to establish a communications link, the battle continued to rage. The Nova cannon, fully recharged, fired again, cutting a swath through the alien fleet's rearguard. But the Draxians were learning, adapting their tactics to the humans' superior firepower. "Admiral," Sarah's XO reported, "they're concentrating their forces, creating a defensive perimeter around their flagship." Sarah frowned. "They're buying time." "But for what?" She turned to Raj. "Doctor, we need that communication link now." "Got it," Raj exclaimed. A moment later, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing the alien bridge and the imposing figure of Supreme Commander Zilith. For a long moment, human and alien regarded each other in tense silence. Then Sarah spoke, her words translated into a series of mathematical equations. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth's Defense Fleet. You have attacked our world without provocation. Surrender now, or face total destruction." Zilith's mandibles clicked rapidly, his compound eyes glittering with a mixture of rage and curiosity. When he replied, his words came through as heavily accented but understandable English. "You dare to demand our surrender? Your species was meant to be cattle, not warriors. Tell us, human, how did you acquire this technology?" Sarah's expression hardened. "We built it ourselves, in secret, preparing for the day your kind would come. We've known about you for longer than you think." This revelation seemed to shock Zilith. "Impossible. Our stealth technology is impressive," Sarah interrupted, "but not infallible. We've been watching you for 50 years, ever since your scout ships first entered our solar system." On both sides of the communication, crews watched in fascination as history unfolded before them. Two species, meeting in battle, now faced each other in dialogue for the first time. Zilith regained his composure, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. You've proven more formidable than anticipated, human. Perhaps we underestimated your kind. But know this, what you've seen today is but a fraction of our true might. The Draxian Empire spans galaxies. We will not be denied. Sarah's reply was cold and determined. And we will not be conquered. You've seen what our primitive species can do. Imagine what we're capable of if pushed further. Leave our solar system now and never return. That's the only warning you'll get. For a tense moment, it seemed as though Xylith might order his forces to fight to the last. But then, grudgingly, he nodded. We will withdraw. For now. But make no mistake, Admiral Chen, the Draxian Empire does not forget, nor does it forgive. We will return, and in greater numbers. As the communication ended, a cheer went up across the Phantom Fleet. They had done it. Humanity had faced its first extraterrestrial threat and emerged victorious. But Sarah Chen felt no elation. She knew this was only the beginning. All ships, maintain battle stations, she ordered. Escort the alien fleet to the edge of the solar system. Make sure they leave. As the battered Draxian Armada limped away, watched carefully by Earth's defenders, Sarah turned to Raj. We need to prepare, she said quietly. They'll be back, and next time, they'll be ready for us. Raj nodded solemnly. I'll get my team working on analyzing their technology right away. Every scrap of data we gathered during the battle could be crucial. As the adrenaline of combat faded, the true impact of what had transpired began to sink in. Humanity had taken its first steps onto a larger galactic stage, and there was no going back. The secret of Earth's hidden fleet was out, both to its own population and to the stars themselves. In the days that followed, as the Phantom Fleet returned to Earth orbit in triumph, the world below was transformed. Governments grappled with the reality of advanced alien civilizations and the revelation of decades-long secret space programs. The public, initially gripped by fear, now clamored for information about their hidden protectors. Admiral Sarah Chen found herself thrust into the spotlight, hailed as the savior of Earth. But as she stood before the United Nations, recounting the battle and warning of future threats, her mind was already racing ahead. The Draxians would return, and they were just one of countless potential threats lurking in the vast darkness of space. Humanity had won its first interstellar battle, but the war for survival in a hostile universe was just beginning. As Sarah concluded her address to the assembled leaders of Earth, her final words rang out with grim determination. Today, we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we prepare for the battles to come. For we are no longer alone in the universe, and we must be ready to defend our place among the stars. The turning tide. In the months following Earth's surprising victory over the Draxian invasion force, the planet buzzed with a mixture of excitement, fear, and determination. The veil of secrecy surrounding Project Phantom had been lifted, and humanity grappled with its new reality as a spacefaring civilization under threat. Admiral Sarah Chen found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. Between overseeing the repair and expansion of the Phantom Fleet, briefing world leaders, and helping to integrate Earth's conventional armed forces with their advanced space-based counterparts, she barely had time to sleep. On a rare quiet evening, Sarah stood in her office at the newly christened Terran Defense Headquarters, gazing out at the bustling activity below. The sprawling complex, once hidden beneath the Nevada desert, now stood proudly under the open sky, a symbol of humanity's resolve. A knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called, turning to see Dr. Raj Patel step into the room, his arms laden with datapads. "Admiral," Raj greeted her, his eyes bright with excitement despite the late hour. "I think we've made a breakthrough." Sarah raised an eyebrow. "With the Draxian tech?" Raj nodded eagerly. "Yes, and more. We've managed to reverse engineer some of their faster-than-light communication systems, but in the process, we stumbled upon something even more significant. He spread the datapads across Sarah's desk, bringing up holographic displays of complex equations and star charts. "We've detected transmissions," Raj continued, "not from the Draxians, but from other civilizations. Sarah, the galaxy is teeming with life, and not all of it is hostile." Sarah leaned in, her fatigue forgotten as she absorbed the implications. "Have you been able to decrypt any of these transmissions?" "Some," Raj replied. "It's preliminary, but it seems there are other species out there who have been monitoring the Draxian Empire's expansion. Some of them might be willing to ally with us." Before Sarah could respond, an alarm blared through the complex. Red lights flashed as a voice came over the intercom. "Admiral Chen, to the command center immediately. We have multiple unidentified objects approaching the solar system." Sarah and Raj shared a look of grim determination before rushing out of the office. In the command center, a hive of activity greeted them. Officers and technicians moved with practiced efficiency, their actions honed by months of drills and preparation. "Report," Sarah barked as she strode to the central holographic display. Her XO, Commander David Torres, looked up from his station. "Long-range sensors have detected a large fleet entering the Orc cloud. Initial readings suggest it's at least twice the size of the force we faced before." Sarah's jaw tightened. "The Draxians are back, and they've brought reinforcements. Time to arrival." "At their current speed, just under 72 hours, Torres replied. Sarah nodded, her mind already formulating strategies. "Alert all Phantom Fleet personnel. I want every ship we have ready for combat in 48 hours, and get me a secure line to the UN Security Council." As the command center erupted into action, Sarah turned to Raj. "Doctor, how quickly can we implement some of those alien communication protocols you discovered?" Raj's eyes widened as he grasped her intention. "You want to try and contact potential allies. It's risky, Admiral. We don't know how they'll respond, or if they can even reach us in time." "We're out of options," Sarah replied grimly. "The Phantom Fleet fought bravely last time, but against a force this size, we'll need every advantage we can get. Make it happen." The next 2 days were a blur of activity. Around the world, humanity prepared for what might be its final stand. The Phantom Fleet, now bolstered by hastily retrofitted conventional spacecraft, took up defensive positions throughout the solar system. On Earth, civilians were evacuated to hardened shelters, while military forces stood ready to repel any ground invasion. As the deadline approached, Sarah stood on the bridge of the PSV Defiant, watching the holographic representation of the incoming Draxian Armada. The sheer size of the enemy force was staggering, a sea of red markers stretching across the display. "Any word from our messages to potential allies?" Sarah asked, trying to keep the desperation out of her voice. Raj, who had insisted on being aboard for the battle, shook his head. "Nothing yet, but the transmissions are still going out. If anyone's listening, they'll hear us." Sarah nodded, then turned to address her crew, and through them, the entire Phantom Fleet. "Men and women of Earth, the moment we've trained for is upon us. The enemy thought to catch us unprepared, to enslave our world and strip it of resources. But humanity is not so easily conquered. We've faced extinction before, from our own actions, and from forces of nature. Each time, we've emerged stronger, more united. Today, we face our greatest challenge yet, but I have faith in our technology, in our tactics, and most of all, in the indomitable human spirit. Whatever happens, know that you stand as the guardians of Earth, of all we were, all we are, and all we might become. For Earth." A chorus of "For Earth" echoed through the ship and across the fleet. As the Draxian Armada entered the solar system, humanity's defenders stood ready, prepared to sell their lives dearly in defense of their homeworld. The battle erupted with a fury that dwarfed the previous engagement. The void of space lit up with weapons fire as the two fleets clashed. Initially, the humans' superior technology and tactics allowed them to hold their own. their ships dancing nimbly between the lumbering Draxian vessels. But as the hours wore on, the sheer numbers of the Draxian force began to tell. One by one, Earth ships winked out of existence, overwhelmed by the relentless assault. The Defiant shuddered under repeated impacts, its shields straining to hold. "Admiral," Torres called out, his voice tight with tension, "we've lost a third of the fleet. The Draxians are pushing towards Earth. We can't hold them much longer." Sarah gripped her command chair, her knuckles white. They had known this was a possibility, had prepared for it. But facing the reality of defeat was something else entirely. She opened her mouth to give the order for a final, suicidal charge. And then, miraculously, the tide turned. New contacts appeared on the sensor displays, flowing into the solar system from multiple vectors. Sleek, organic-looking ships, unlike anything human or Draxian, joined the fray. Their weapons lanced out, carving through the Draxian fleet with terrifying efficiency. "It's them," Rad shouted, his eyes wide with wonder. "The Allies. They came." As the newcomers tore into the Draxian fleet, a transmission came through, translated by the protocols Raj had implemented. "People of Earth," a melodious voice echoed across the comms, "we are the Altari Concordat. Your bravery against the Draxian menace has not gone unnoticed. Stand fast. You are no longer alone in this fight." With renewed hope, the Phantom Fleet rallied. Sarah's voice rang out, coordinating their efforts with their new allies. The Draxians, caught between two forces and facing weapons they had never encountered before, began to falter. Supreme Commander Xylith, watching his grand invasion force crumble, snarled in fury, "All ships, converge on the human flagship. If we fall, we take their leader with us." But as the Draxian ships surged towards the Defiant, they found themselves facing not just human defenders, but a wall of Altari vessels. The aliens had recognized the importance of the human admiral and moved to protect her. In a desperate gambit, Xylith ordered his flagship to ram the Defiant. As the massive Draxian vessel bore down on them, Sarah made a split-second decision. "All power to forward shields," she commanded. "Brace for impact." The two flagships collided in a spectacular display of destructive force. But when the debris cleared, it was the Defiant that remained, battered but unbroken. The Draxian flagship, its hull torn asunder, drifted lifelessly. With their leader gone and their forces in disarray, the remaining Draxian ships began to retreat. Cheers erupted across the human fleet as the gravity of their victory sank in. Against all odds, Earth had stood its ground and emerged triumphant. As the last Draxian ships fled the solar system, the Altari vessels moved to join the human fleet. On the bridge of the Defiant, Sarah Chen allowed herself a small smile. They had done it. Earth was safe, for now. And humanity had taken its first steps into a much larger, more complex galactic community. But as she watched the Altari ships approach, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. New challenges, new threats, and new opportunities awaited. The universe, it seemed, was vaster and more wondrous than they had ever imagined. And humanity was now, irrevocably, a part of it. A new dawn for humanity. The days following the battle were a whirlwind of activity. As the Phantom Fleet and their Altari allies secured the solar system, Earth below erupted in celebration. The fear and tension that had gripped the planet dissolved into joy and relief. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge, and against all odds emerged victorious. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the International Space Station, now serving as a makeshift diplomatic hub. The view before her was breathtaking. Earth's blue marble hung serenely against the backdrop of space, while the sleek forms of human and Altari ships drifted in graceful orbits. "It's quite a sight, isn't it?" a voice said behind her. Sarah turned to see Raj approaching, a tired but satisfied smile on his face. "That it is," Sarah agreed. "Have the Altari representatives arrived?" Raj nodded. "They're waiting in the conference room. The UN Secretary General, is on his way up as well. As they made their way through the station's corridors, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at how quickly things had changed. Just days ago, humanity had been fighting for its very survival. Now they were about to engage in their first official diplomatic meeting with an alien species. The conference room doors slid open, revealing a scene that would have been unthinkable mere months ago. Human diplomats and military officials sat side by side with the Altari delegation. The aliens were a striking sight. Tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and large, expressive eyes that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. As Sarah and Raj took their seats, the Altari leader, introducing herself as High Emissary Zora, began to speak. Her words were translated through the communication devices Raj and his team had refined. People of Earth, Zora's melodious voice filled the room. We come to you in friendship and admiration. Your courage in the face of the Draxian threat has earned you the respect of many in the galactic community. The UN Secretary-General leaned forward. We are grateful for your intervention, High Emissary, but we must ask, why did you choose to ally with us? Zara's eyes seemed to twinkle. For many cycles, we have watched your species from afar. We saw your potential, your resilience, your capacity for both great destruction and profound creation. When we detected your battle against the Draxians, we knew the time had come to reveal ourselves. She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. The galaxy is a vast and often dangerous place. The Draxian Empire is but one of many threats. We believe that humanity, with its unique blend of ingenuity and determination, could be a valuable addition to the coalition of free worlds we represent. The implications of her words hung heavy in the air. Humanity was being offered a place on the galactic stage, a chance to join a community of advanced civilizations. Sarah spoke up, her voice steady. While we're honored by your offer, High Emissary, we must consider the welfare of our people. The Draxians will return, won't they? Zara nodded solemnly. They will. The Empire does not take defeat lightly. But together, we can stand against them and any other threat that may arise. As the discussions continued, touching on technology exchange, cultural integration, and mutual defense pacts, Sarah found her mind racing with the possibilities. The knowledge and advancements the Altari could share would catapult humanity forward by centuries, but it would also irrevocably change Earth's societies and cultures. Hours later, as the meeting adjourned, Sarah and Raj found themselves alone in the observation deck once more. The Earth continued its serene rotation below, unaware of the momentous decisions being made in orbit. It's not going to be easy, Raj said, breaking the contemplative silence. Integrating alien technology, preparing for future conflicts, dealing with the societal upheaval. Sarah nodded. No, it won't be. But when has humanity ever shied away from a challenge? She turned to her friend and colleague, a determined glint in her eye. We've been given an opportunity, Raj. A chance to shape not just our future, but the future of the galaxy. Raj couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. Well, when you put it like that, how can we refuse? Where do we start? We start by doing what humanity does best, Sarah replied. We adapt, we innovate, and we push forward. The Phantom Fleet was just the beginning. Now we build on that foundation. Over the next few months, Earth underwent a transformation unlike anything in its history. The influx of alien knowledge and technology sparked a renaissance in every field of human endeavor. Cities began to incorporate advanced materials and clean energy sources. Medical breakthroughs eradicated diseases that had plagued humanity for millennia. The Phantom Fleet, once Earth's hidden protector, became the core of a new Terran space force. With Altari assistance, shipyards were constructed in orbit and on the Moon, churning out vessels that combined the best of human and alien technology. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Cultural clashes and economic disruptions led to periods of unrest. Some feared the loss of human identity in the face of cosmic integration. Others worried about Earth becoming a pawn in galactic politics. Through it all, Sarah Chen and Raj Patel worked tirelessly. They became the bridge between Earth and its new allies, guiding humanity through its growing pains as it took its place among the stars. 1 year after the Battle of Earth, as it came to be known, Sarah stood on the bridge of the newly christened TSS Nova, the most advanced ship ever built by human hands. As the vessel prepared for its maiden voyage, a goodwill tour of allied worlds, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and anticipation. "Admiral," Raj called from his station, "we're receiving a priority transmission from the Altari border outposts. Long-range sensors have detected a massive fleet approaching from Draxian space. It looks like they're making another push." Sarah's expression hardened, but there was no fear in her eyes. Only determination. "Alert the Terran Space Force and our Altari allies. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do." As alerts sounded and the crews sprang into action, Sarah gazed out at the star-filled viewport. The universe had proven to be more dangerous than they could have imagined, but also more wondrous. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger, more united, ready to claim its place in the cosmic order. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Sarah knew one thing for certain: humanity would face them head-on, with the same spirit that had carried them from cave-dwelling tribes to a spacefaring civilization. The Draxians, and anyone else who threatened Earth or its allies, were about to learn a harsh lesson. Humanity had awoken, and the galaxy would never be the same.